I was very curious about Gopher Goofy because I'm a big fan of the Goofy Gophers, and I wondered if this was maybe a connection. This is a Warner Brothers cartoon released in 1942, directed by McCabe and written by Don Christensen, with voices provided by Mel Blanc. And it's not really anything like the Goofy Gophers, aside from the fact our protagonists are gophers. The personalities here are very different. I won't say polar opposites to the Goofy Gophers, but Macintosh have a very distinct personality, and it's definitely very different here. I won't spoil it too much by telling you exactly how different they are because I do recommend you watch it, particularly if you're a fan of Goofy Gophers, because I guess this is what Goofy Gophers could have become, like more regularly. But we have these two gophers who are setting about to eat the vegetables in this garden, and we have this gardener who doesn't want that to happen, of course, and he does everything he can to try and stop the gophers, while the gophers do everything they can to do what they please. Who is going to win that battle? Well, I won't say, but it was fine. The narrative developed really well. It's very well animated. I don't love the gardener's design. In fact, it's just his nose. Very early Warner Brothers cartoons usually gave human characters massive noses, and this gradually started to decrease. But with this one, I feel like they're still fine tuning their style when it comes to human characters at this point, but there's just something about his nose. It doesn't sit right with me. I don't love it. But I was able to look past that. The character I actually quite liked, but I wasn't sure whose side I was on. When it comes to the Goofy Gophers, I'm basically always on the Gophers team because I just love the characters. Here, I didn't mind the Gophers. I thought they were interesting enough, well developed, decent accents. Again, I don't want to spoil exactly what their personalities are like because I want you to discover these things when you watch it. But I liked them well enough. I thought they were well written, well rounded characters. But there was something about the character of the gardener or the farmer that I found quite endearing, and I rather liked him, minus the design of his facial features. So I didn't know which side to bat for, and it was definitely a very interesting experience. It also meant because I didn't know who I was meant to be favouring, I didn't know what the outcome would be, which meant it was quite interesting because usually when you watch a cartoon, it's obvious whose team you're meant to be on. It's obvious which character is going to come up trumps and which character is going to be worse off by the end of it. But I felt like this wasn't, at least to me, this wasn't very obvious here. So it meant the narrative was quite unpredictable. And as I said, it's well animated, it's got a good pacing, all of the characters are likable in their own ways. There's nothing wrong with it. I really enjoyed it. Again, it would have been interesting if this is what the Goofy Gophers had become, if these were, the characters that would end up going on to be Macintosh. But I'm glad it wasn't. I don't dislike these characters, but I think Macintosh are just so charming with such great personalities that I'm glad this decision was made at some point. But either way, Gopher Goofy is definitely worth watching. If you've never seen a Goofy Gophers, it's still worth watching, but I would recommend you check out Goofy Gophers as well because I just think they're so delightful. And if you are a fan of Goofy Gophers, I think you'll find Gopher Goofy quite interesting. Definitely from a comparison perspective, but even a cartoon in its own right, it's pretty good.